Jowi Taylor wanted to do something special and original and remarkable to celebrate how great it is to be Canadian. And boy, did he succeed. Jowi has created the most amazing guitar you will ever see, and the story behind it is just as fascinating. And we're pleased to welcome Jowi Taylor to our studios here at TVO. Hi again.
Thanks for having me.
I saw you do this in the summertime, and I thought this is the most incredible thing, and I'm glad we've got an opportunity to do it here. Let's go back to the very beginning. How many years ago are we talking now?
Conceived in 1995, born in 2006.
You want to do something neat and cool. Where does the idea of this come in?
It's a product of a bunch of different processes. One of which was that in 1995, two important things were happening. One was there was a referendum in the province of Quebec on the issue of sovereignty, and the other was I was working at Harbourfront Centre and I bumped into a luthier named George Rosani. A guitar maker. And he was building guitars just using wood from his property, which at the time was in Greenbank, Ontario. And given the climate around the debate that was leading up to the referendum, I thought we were missing an opportunity to actually talk to one another across the country about all the different ways there were to be Canadian, rather than letting the pundits and the commentators really focus down to a French, English, Quebec, Ottawa kind of thing. And George's work with Canadian wood sort of inspired me to ask him, do you think you could build a guitar using pieces from every province and territory of Canada so we'd have an occasion to talk to one another? And he said, well, I'd love to give it a try. And I think we thought at the time it would be done in a matter of months, like in time for the referendum. Instead, it took 11 years.
It took 11 years to build this guitar.
It took, well, actually, the truth is it took George 6 weeks to build the guitar. It took a few years for me to do research and talking to people and getting the right pieces in there. The rest of the time was trying to get anyone to support it.
Well, okay, more on that story in a second. But essentially, we need to tell people here that this is a guitar made up of how many different and disparate elements?
Well, there's 63 different pieces of material in the guitar itself. And of the original 64 that I got for the guitar, one of those is on the strap. Since then, I've added a few to the case and the strap, and you can see a few that are on the strap here.
We'll go through this, but and did you succeed in getting something from every province and territory?
Oh, many pieces from each province and territory,
okay.
Yes.
So this is a truly national guitar.
Truly. It's at home wherever it goes.
Okay, terrific. Let's start by bringing up some of the pictures here of the different elements in the guitar, and then you can show us where, in fact, they live.
If I can.
If you can, on this beautiful piece of art.
Okay.
So, control room, if you would, let's start to bring these pictures up. What is that?
Now that is copper from the roof of the Library of Parliament. You might recall that a few years ago they did a big, beautiful refurbishment on the Library of Parliament in Ottawa on the hill, the only building to survive the fire, the Great Fire there. And they just handed me, the people from the works handed me this piece of copper. And it's in a couple of places. I don't know how tight you can get, but there are 2 rings of copper around the rosette here that surround the sound hole. And then up on
this is copper in
that's
there.
Copper there, those 2 copper rings.
That ring,
and then up on the 3rd fret there, you have a border of moose antler from, no, not moose antler, that's moose shin from Pachinak, a Dene community in northern Saskatchewan, labradorite in the center from Nain, Labrador, and then 2 very, very thin strips of copper in there as well.
From the roof of the Library of Parliament.
Yes.
Doesn't get more Canadian than that. Okay.
Or does it?
Well, let's keep going. Next picture, please. And we'll see what else you've done here. What's this?
There you go. That's Pierre Trudeau's canoe paddle.
How did you get that?
I was trying, I knew I wanted to reflect Pierre Trudeau as a kind of a very iconoclastic and really transformative kind of figure in Canadian identity. And I was trying to get something from the Canoe Museum in Peterborough, but it was bankrupt at the time. There was no way of getting in there. But in my CBC days, I happened to bump into Justin Trudeau in the hall one day. I said, hey, here's who I am, here's what I'm trying to do. And he said, oh man, I don't think I've got anything left. I think it's all at the Canoe Museum, but I'll keep my eyes peeled for you. And a while later, I got this phone call from Justin saying my brother and I had a look around and we found one of Dad's favorite paddles. It's not in good shape for a canoe trip anymore, but it might work as a piece of guitar. So he sent that to us.
And he's not an MP yet, is he? This is
no,
well before.
Yeah, this is well before.
Okay.
So he sent us that. George cut that down. It is now the tone bar just inside the top of the sound hole. So that runs. That's, believe it or not, that is a piece that a lot of people want to touch as we take the guitar and put it in people's hands across the country.
So you can't actually see it from the outside, it's on the interior.
It's on the interior. But
okay. Little piece of Pierre Trudeau is in the guitar.
that's right.
Next picture, please. What are we going to look at now? Oh, yeah.
From the Princess Patricia's Canadian Light Infantry. So in fact, we have
flip it the other way.
we have both the shoulder tile and the insignia from Princess Pat's. That was, they of course were, famous, founded by Andrew Galt for the First World War. And then as we were, I always talked about this, we did a lot of stuff with the military, the Canadian Forces College and other places, and it was always a point of pride to have the PBCLI represented. And then I found out the incredible story of Beaumont Hamel and the Newfoundland Regiment, who became the Royal Newfoundland Regiment, founded in 1795, and who suffered a tremendous loss on July 1st in the First World War. And so they are, their shoulder tile and insignia is represented there.
And how did you get these?
I just called up folks from those regiments and asked and told them what I was trying to do. It got easier. I think among the first pieces that I sort of secured were bits of the Blue Nose 2, Trudeau's paddle. And once you have those kinds of things, it's easier to say to someone else, I'm doing this project, here's what I've got so far. Well, okay, sure.
Gotcha.
We'll take part.
Next picture, please. Let's see the next piece of Canadiana you've got here.
All right, that's seat number 69 from up in the gallery section at Massey Hall. One of not only a great concert hall, but an important place in the community for a whole bunch of reasons. Winston Churchill spoke there, the Dalai Lama spoke there, weddings were held there, famously for Tom Longboat, the Six Nations runner, Olympic runner, boxing matches, political debates, union meetings, the famous Charlie Parker jazz concert, Neil Young's recordings and film. I like to say I also saw Simple Minds 3 nights in a row there in the 80s, and that's now the headstock of the guitar. So all of that is Massey Hall, as is this piece and this piece here on the rosette.
This piece here?
That's right.
And this piece here?
Yeah. That's whale baleen from Iqaluit, and door molding from a beaver bush plane, and muskox horn from Cambridge Bay.
Little piece of Massey Hall in the guitar.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, next picture, please.
This is kind of the killer of them all. This is an extraordinary story. And you may have read John Valiant's book, The Golden Spruce, which is about this tree. This was a completely albino Sitka spruce tree on Haida Gwaii off the west coast of British Columbia. A tourist attraction, a scientific oddity, and a sacred tree to the Haida people. It was cut down by a madman in 1997 as a kind of a odd sort of form of protest against Macmillan Bloedel. And the Haida people at that point said, we're just going to leave it to return to the earth at this point. I entered into a negotiation with the community with an introduction from David Suzuki, which helped, and a lot of folks in the community really got behind the idea, and so the only piece ever taken from that tree, the remains of that tree, is now this. The whole top of the guitar.
The whole facing here.
Yeah.
Everything we see here.
All that stuff.
That is from
all
that
white
tree.
stuff. That's the golden spruce.
And again, it gets back to permission. How did you manage to get permission to take something that would have been considered so sacred?
That was an 18-month process. There was some behind-the-scenes help from Gujau, who's the president of the Council of the Haida Nation. There was a lot of connectors on the island. There was a lot of community debate about it. And then I went out there without an actual promise that I would return with something, but we'd spent a few days hanging out in Old Masset and meeting people and trying to let them know what we were about. It remained a controversial thing for us to do, and there remained people on the island who didn't think it was a good idea. But having Gujau's support and having other folks there really, really helped. And of course, then we took the guitar back there in 2008 to really kind of bring it home, and that was a tremendously positive experience. And so, although I haven't really found out, I think some of the resistors probably would have seen the value of it at that point.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Next slide, please. Let's see what else Joey's got in there.
That's the golden spruce. That's what we came upon when we crossed the Yukon River and found the tree, not knowing if there'd be anything left after 9 years on the ground in the rainforest.
Okay, next slide, please. Oh, look at that.
You'll like that. So 1956 was the first year that Richard was back after his suspension.
Rocket Richard.
Rocket Richard, yes, the year before. And at the time, there were no Stanley Cup rings. So when they won, that set off a chain of 5 in a row in 1956.
Don't remind me.
Against, sorry about that, dude. That was against Detroit, though, so we're kind of okay. The Richard family commissioned the first set of Stanley Cup rings. So that's not actually an NHL ring, that's a Richard family commissioned ring. They gave them to all the members of the team. That's the one that Maurice received himself. My friend bought this at an auction. Dave Traherne bought it at an auction in 2004, I think, when the Richard family was getting rid of some memorabilia. I believe he paid about $8,000 US for it. And then I begged, and he gave me a little piece of it. A jeweler named Bevan Jennings, the craft studio down at Harbourfront Centre, cut off a tiny bit of gold from the bottom, buffed it up. You'd never know it was gone, and there it rests now, right in the middle of what I like to think of as Maurice's eye, coming down the ice at you. The white of the eye is moose antler from Pick River First Nation. The blue is again more labradorite from Nain, and then the pupil of gold in the middle.
A piece of Maurice Richard's Stanley Cup winning ring.
That, you know what's amazing to me? I mean, there's a lot of people, a lot of hockey fans out there who want to touch that. But then I do a lot of school presentations as well. And quite often the kids, either they've seen the movie and they want to connect with that, or it's like, wow, I touched real gold.
Very good. Okay, next slide. That's it? That's the last one?
That's
okay,
the last
very good. I know it's priceless, but can you estimate, I mean, you mentioned $8,000 for Richard's ring and so on. Can you estimate what this thing goes for?
Well, I mean, again, like you would never ever get a piece of the golden spruce again. The tree is mostly now gone. The value of other things are real value to the communities that they come from, and might be to an actuarial type person that might be valueless. So who knows? I know that we've certainly I've put close to a couple of $100,000 worth of
insurance?
At least that. No one will talk to me about insuring.
This guitar is not insured.
It is not insured. We'll just keep it like that. It's partly because nobody's prepared to appraise it, but and I've tried, believe me. But also it is. I mean, it belongs to the nation in some way. It is priceless, and although I put my life into it,
I was going to say you've paid for it. You paid to put it together.
Yeah, we had some help from Mike Lazaridis and from a donor in Victoria and from individual donors along the way. And but those people often put in money towards specific things we were trying to do around getting the guitar built, paying the luthier, filming stuff, doing pictures, and those kinds of things. So I'm really grateful for all their help. But mostly it's been a credit card kind of thing.
Now, can I point to various things on here and you'll tell me the story behind the story?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, well, let's go to the black pins right at the top there.
These are the
tuning pins.
The machine heads or the tuning pegs. You've just pointed out the only part of the guitar that's not of Canadian heritage. But that's kind of okay, because these were handcrafted for us by a guy in Varese, Italy, named Niccolo Alessi. This was when a foundry that was supposed to make custom-made machine heads for us in Nova Scotia pulled out 4 weeks before the guitar was due to debut on Canada Day 2006. And we panicked, and we turned to him because we were familiar with his work. He monogrammed them for us, and it proved very handy when we got invited to a guitar festival in Italy about an hour and a half from his house.
Very good.
So it was a homecoming there too.
How about the diamond here?
That's Nephrit Jade. It's from the very northwest corner of British Columbia near Dease Lake. Huge source of jade, particularly for the Chinese market.
What's this thing here?
That's the one with the little bits of copper and the moose shin and the labradorite.
This design here?
This is an ulu, a women's knife, a little ornamental one carved by Charlene Watt from Kuujjuaq. And it's made from caribou antler with a couple little soapstone rivets that are probably too hard to pick up in this light.
These circular dots here?
Well, there's 4 of them. The top 3 that you see there are nickel from Sudbury, home of the Big Nickel, and then this one down here is Sydney Steel from Cape Breton.
I should ask, is there anything from Hamilton, Ontario on this thing?
Nothing from the hammer.
Really?
Nothing
and yet,
from the hammer.
I invited you to come here anyway. How is that possible?
Oh, the number of people who'd say, wait a minute, there's nothing from my hometown, but then there's usually something else that connects.
Okay. This outline here, what is this?
This is from John Ware's cabin. John Ware was born into slavery in South Carolina in 1845, but after emancipation made his way to Texas, where he learned the cattle trade. From there, around the States for a little bit until he landed in the Red Deer River area in Alberta. Became a very, very successful entrepreneur, very popular guy. Died in 1905, 12 days after Alberta became a province, and his cabin was preserved. It's now at Dinosaur Provincial Park in Drumheller. That's a piece of it. There. John Ware.
This circular thing here.
So in 1955, they were getting ready to put the 2 boats that they had in the water for the Maid of the Mist in Niagara Falls for the season. They were prepping them, they caught fire and were destroyed. They salvaged enough wood from the second Maid of the Mist that they made 38,000 of these wooden nickels, sold them to raise money to build the next boat.
Huh. And the outline around the wooden nickel?
Is sort of 2 things. So the material itself is from James Naismith's house in Almont, Ontario. Basketball's inventor, of course, and then the stain on it is red ochre from Conception Bay, Newfoundland, as a tribute to the Beothuk people, who were called the Red Indians on account of their heavy use of red ochre that was really picked up by the incoming fisher culture. Which, you know, unfortunately the Beothuk got wiped out, but that's there in tribute to them.
This here.
This is really for you, Steve. There's 4 pieces there. The one on the left is the top of Paul Henderson's stick from the 1972 Canada Russia series.
That's from Henderson's stick.
That's from Henderson, not the goal scorer, but used in the game. Next to that is a piece of the Wildcat Cafe, the oldest original building in Yellowknife. Next to that, a seat from the old Montreal Forum, sadly now the Forum Pepsi. And next to that, one of Gretzky's sticks.
One of Gretzky's sticks on the other side.
Yeah.
Isn't that spectacular? The strings, Joey. Any story behind the strings?
They are from our good friends at Daddario Canada, who've been very, very supportive from the beginning. But of course, strings, you go through a lot of them. And it's also a very rare art. There is a string maker in Canada, I believe, but for dependability and for ease of obtaining them, the Daddarios are terrific.
Is this wood here different from the wood on the sides?
Oh yeah, so the back and sides of this guitar are spalted oak. That's from what is now the St. Boniface Museum, but it was built as the Convent of the Grey Nuns. It's the oldest building in Winnipeg, the largest oak timber frame building in North America. Louis Riel went to school there after his first trip to Montreal. His sister was a novice there. So that's all the back and sides. But also hidden in that very center, a couple strips from a door frame from the center block of Parliament, 2 strips from a bagel shiba from the Fairmount Bagel Bakery in Montreal, and then a piece from a grain elevator built by the Doukhobors in Verrigan, Saskatchewan about 105 years ago. The Doukhobors, of course, pacifists who came to Canada on a grant from Leo Tolstoy.
Fantastic. There's nothing more Canadian, some would argue, than Don Cherry. Is there anything of Don Cherry's in this guitar?
It's hidden in the case.
Oh, okay.
It's a pair of his pants are in the case.
What?
Yeah, yeah.
The covering of the case, in other words, the protecting the interior?
Inside, you open it up, and there's a pair of his pants and one of Pierre Burton's bow ties and Karen Kane's tutu and some canvas from the very first Stratford Festival tent from 1953 and Chris Hadfield's mission patch and Stephen Leacock's doily and a little head pillow collage made for me by the children of Nelson Mandela Park Public School.
Terrific. We've got some, this guitar's been all over, obviously, and I want to take us through the pictures now, and you can tell us some of the people who have picked up this guitar and played it and derived joy from it.
Sure.
So, control room, let's just cycle through these if we can. Okay.
Didn't exactly play it, but posed with it rather successfully, we think.
That's the Defense Minister, Peter MacKay.
Peter MacKay. Stompin' Tom played Bud the Spud on it.
He did, eh?
He did, yeah. Jack Layton did play guitar,
Yeah.
and so he played on a couple of occasions. Bob Ray, a well-known musician, piano's his instrument, but he's one of my honorary patrons and somebody who answers my call all the time. The former Speaker of the House,
Peter Milliken.
Peter Milliken.
Longest-serving Speaker
I call
of all
that his
time.
Johnny Cash pose. There's John Ralston Saul.
The formerly His Excellency.
That's right. Gordon Lightfoot on the occasion of his 70th birthday at the Royal Conservatory.
He played it, I bet.
He did.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you've got Trevor Linden.
Let's hold this up here a little while because we've got to see this one. Now, is that Deb Gray on the right?
That's Deb Gray on the right.
First Reform MP.
Joseph Michelli, an American a best-selling author who really got what this project was all about. Biff Naked in the front, me and Trevor Linden in the back.
Trevor Linden, yeah. Trevor Linden's a pretty good hockey player once upon a time. Yeah, okay. And here's the last one.
That's
What's
the
this at?
debut of the guitar. That's Kyle Riabko, who since went to Broadway, but he's from Saskatchewan. This was on the debut of the guitar on Canada Day 2006 on Parliament Hill. In fact, all of the artists who were on the bill played it that day, who played guitar. Stephen Fearing was the very first.
I think one of the great ironies around all of this is that you're not a guitar player.
I am not.
And I think we need to hear what this thing sounds like.
It would be a shame not to.
I agree. So, Joey, meet Teddy.
Teddy.
Teddy, meet Joey.
How are you?
And
Good to see you again.
why don't you plug this thing in
Let's
so
do
that we
that.
can make sure that the folks at home watching
Let's get
can
this
hear
on
the
you
audio.
first. If you'll just hold that.
Teddy's a guy who hangs out in these parts from time to time.
Hang on.
And we'll get you all hooked up and we can hear what this thing sounds like. There we go. You can go unplugged or plugged on this thing, eh?
He works either way.
Okay. Maestro, if you please. Fantastic. That's an appropriate song, I guess. Our Love Is Here to Stay. You must have a heck of a love affair with this thing.
I do, and you know what? Those pictures, I mean, we saw a handful of them. We've now done 150,000 portraits of about 15,000 different people holding this guitar in every province and territory of Canada. And I swear I get immersed in them sometimes. Just all these lovely faces, everyone being Canadian in their own way. For that little moment when they've got that little piece of history in their hands, it's just it's a remarkable feeling. And I get to relive it all the time. It's lovely.
Joey, why don't you unplug? And Teddy,
Sure
we'll
thing.
thank you for showing us what this thing actually sounds like.
Thank you, sir.
Careful. Aren't you, did you get afraid to touch the thing?
Well, you know what's really nice is that when you get a chance to tell the story and when people know what it's about, and then are presented with the opportunity, it's always in kind of a very respectful and very quiet kind of way. And you let people have a few moments with it. Especially when we're doing the portraits. And people are so gentle and they're so, I mean, people have fun too. People jump up and down and they do all kinds of stuff. But at that point, I really trust them because they know what it means. And that's, it's an exercise in trust.
Where does the guitar sleep?
At my house. Yeah, for now. I'm talking to some folks about where it will eventually go because I can't keep lugging this around the country forever. And yet, I want to make sure that it always has a voice. If it just becomes a thing in a box, that's just a relic. The voice of it really is what brings it to life. So I'm talking to some folks in Calgary, where the National Music Centre is being established, and they've got a new project, a new building underway, and with any luck, they have a terrific record for keeping instruments going, making sure they remain active. So we'll see what happens, but I'm anxious to do some stuff for 2017 and all that kind of stuff. So
150th birthday of the country.
Yeah, so I want to make sure that the guitar is available for that. The Pan Am Games are coming up. I would love to share this with all the visitors who come in some way. So I'll hold on to it for a while.
But the long-range plan is not to have it sit in some museum somewhere
untouched,
as it
that's
were.
right. So we would make sure that there was programming around it, that musicians could access it, that people could see it and touch it and all that kind of stuff.
I don't mean to harp on this, but you've put so much tender loving care into the thing, not to mention years and effort. I mean, how much do you worry about this thing getting damaged?
Oh, tremendously. I mean, I don't worry about it so much from people, but circumstances and stuff. So I try to, the folks at Air Canada have been letting me carry the guitar into the cabin, which has been tremendously helpful because for anyone who's seen the United Breaks Guitars video on YouTube, you'll know that it's a hair-raising experience to let an instrument go, let alone an irreplaceable one. and those kinds of things, the thought of it going missing, I mean, it's horrible. I did fantasize at one point of getting the Trailer Park Boys to steal it for a movie or something like that. But yeah, I mean, I worry about it in some ways, but on the other hand, I have a great faith that because everyone's represented in it, everyone sees themselves in some small way in the guitar, that it feels like it's a piece of everyone, and people want to look after that.
But if I could compare it to another national treasure, for example, the Grey Cup or the Stanley Cup. You know, if you drop that, you bang it out, and it's sort of you buff it up. Yeah, you can unding that thing pretty easy. It's pretty hard to unding this thing if it gets dinged.
Very true. Yeah, I will tell you that we did have a sort of catastrophic failure of the bridge. The bridge here is the Machot, a French frigate scuttled in the Restigouche River in 1760 in the 7 Years' War that they unearthed when they were excavating for a mill site in the 1970s. That's actually red oak with 200 years of mud in it. And a crack had developed, and in the midst of a performance in Muskoka, as a matter of fact, at the Deerhurst Inn, a teacher who was playing it for a conference, a teacher's conference, he got about 4 bars into Bryan Adams' song, Summer of '69, and the whole front of the bridge came off, landed itself inside the sound hole, thankfully. It meant it didn't get stepped on. And the folks at the 12th Fret here in Toronto clamped that back for me and glued it. It's stronger than ever. So that's a good thing. So it's some things we hope going forward will be repairable should anything ever happen to it, but let's just hope not.
Let's finish up by going kind of full circle here. This emanated from a moment in our history that was pretty scary for people who see Canada as a 10-province, 3-territory, central government, at the very least, kind of a country. The Federalists won that referendum by less than 1%. I mean, that was pretty close. Do you see this as some kind of metaphor for keeping this country together?
Well, yes and no. I mean, you know what's interesting about that is that I think I began this project thinking it would be an answer to that question, right, of do we belong as a country together? And the more research I did and the more I travel around, the more I think, you know, Quebec is, and I would say Newfoundland as well, are the parts of the country that actually really get the connection between culture and nationhood. Those are lessons that the rest of the country would do well to really study, to connect nationhood and culture. I'm not sure that unity is something that you actually try to build. I think what you try to build is communication and understanding and sharing, and then unity is kind of a byproduct of that. That's tremendously difficult in this country because we're so few of us spread out over such a vast distance that the normal things of creating a culture that happens sort of village to village, town to town, the way you make cheese, the way you talk, the songs you sing, those travel pretty organically. It's hard for those things to travel organically in this country. They need a lot of support in order to make that work. We sort of connect vertically to the States so often. And the fact that the idea of connecting horizontally is kind of a fantasy, but one worth pursuing, I think.
As you have. Your website?
sixstringnation.com.
And if people want to see that guitar, maybe have it come to their school, whatever? That's where you
Absolutely.
go.
And there's a book as well from Douglas and McIntyre, and you'll get the whole story in there as well.
That's Jowi Taylor and his absolutely unique, distinctive, remarkable guitar. Thanks so much for coming in to TVO today.
Thank you so much for having me again.
It was fabulous.
Support Ontario's public television. Donate at tvo.org.